What's up guys, welcome back to Mighty Quest. As I promised, we are going to be doing a couple replay videos. I think we're going to do two, and we'll include all of the replays from the last competition so that you guys can see those. As long as there wasn't a patch, let's just double check to make sure. Okay, there hasn't been a patch, so I'll just record both of these back to back, and then I'll, upload them and release them. So, as I said, we were going to go over the couple things that I changed. Basically, I put in some mines in certain areas to restrict movement. So I'm not sure exactly where I had the mines before, like at the end of the castle building, because I kind of just threw them in. I put them in just random areas that I think needed to restrict movement, as you can see. Basically, Stairmaster groups for the most part. I also changed out the Jimbo that I had here for a Vampire Elite, because I actually, when I was playing the competition, I ran into one of these groups, and generally when I ran into these groups I would just use a headshot and a volley and maybe bear traps and just DPS the Countess Vampire Elite person down before the heal would even really kick in. But in this circumstance I actually started DPSing it down, got to about half health, and then the heal would take it all the way up to max again. And it did that for a while and actually was forced to use a potion on just this group by itself, mainly because I wasn't used to dealing with it with the hit point buff. So I decided to throw it in. I don't think it really did all that amazing work for me during the competition, and for the first half of the replays or so it's going to be the Jimbo as well. Still in there. I think I moved these guys as well, trying to make them not as easy to aggro, but basically what I've noticed is that you can actually stand at this point, in this room specifically, you can stand right here as an archer and volley down this hallway as far as you want, like as far as you can see. So that's a problem. This room is a lot less effective than it used to be just because of that, but I've left it in for the most part. I haven't taken out the room yet. I might over the course of next week, but we'll see. I think other than that, I haven't really changed anything. It actually worked pretty well. The start of the competition was a little bit shaky. I started off with quite a few losses, maybe like 3 losses and 1 win, but then towards the end of the competition, let's see. So the start, I had these, when I first logged on when the competition started, I had these losses and this 1 win, and I was like, well, that's going to be terrible if that's how the competition's going to work. But then as we kind of went forward, I had a lot more wins and a lot more defenses held, as you can see, a couple people taking a little bit over the timer. So we'll jump into a replay. There was a total of 14 attacks, I believe, so we're going to do 7 replays per video. There was a couple of them that are really short, so it shouldn't be an overly long video, and we can also run it on times too if we have to. So let's start off with a couple of these. We'll start off at the beginning, but then we'll probably jump into the middle, where some of these only take like 34 seconds and stuff like that, although that's not actually a competition replay. So Orlac, the first one, he's a viewer. I did his castle a couple days ago. Ended up using 4 potions, so I'm guessing he just kind of died because of the sustained damage, which happened quite a bit. I'm pretty surprised with the outcome, to be honest. So we'll run it on ×2 speed for most of these replays, because you can still kind of tell what's going on, right? You don't really have to go on 1x speed to figure it out, and it's a little less boring. Like this guy, obviously he wasn't meant to kill anybody or anything. He's just kind of a big time waster, and I wanted to put one of them in my castle at least. I saw some unique things when using Dr. Skulls. You can actually use Dr. Skulls in conjunction with bomb explodifiers or Mr. Boom Booms, and they'll raise the dead guys. So that was a thing that I didn't really think of, and it's a pretty cool idea that a couple people used. It was actually surprising that a lot of people had similar groups to this. I think only a few had similar groups to this, but a lot of them had Dr. Skulls. You can see this group is actually doing pretty well. It's doing reasonable for itself, so I was pretty happy with that. There was a couple people that went through and dealt with it a lot better than he did, specifically. Actually, specifically UK Azure, who wasn't actually part of the competition this week, but he ran my castle just an hour or 2 ago of recording this, and he ran it the best so far, I think, out of everybody. He had the lowest time with the lowest used potions at 0, so he did quite well. But he's a mage, and it's a lot different. I kind of geared this castle towards archers. I wanted to deal with archers. So here's the first potion use right there. You could see that Cyclops and Scorpio combo that was down here did pretty good. It knocked him onto the spike trap. Had that Cyclops had the stun effect that it had last patch, he probably would have died there. But the stun effect is so low. Again, here, if that stun effect was last patch, that Zeke would have killed him. So there's kind of like 2 deaths that he missed because of patch 19 already, which is a little unfortunate. And then Jimbo does okay, but he doesn't ever really do any damage. I think he might get like 1 swing off, and that's it. Because bear traps are just really good against him. Whereas vampires, they're actually not as good because you can't really predict where they're going to teleport to, and sometimes they seem to like go over the bear traps when they're teleporting. So that was actually a little bit risky, I think, for him. I mean, he timed it out well, so he didn't die there, but definitely a little risky. Alright, again, Scorpio worked well. He jumped in, he got bashed back onto the trap. Again, the lowered stun time when you are, you know, getting back up from laying on the ground there has been nerfed in patch 18, or 19, I mean, so could have died there. I don't think he would have, though. He was still like at half health. He might have been low enough where he used a potion a little bit earlier, though. But so far, looking at this first replay, I would say that my castle is at least being somewhat successful against this guy. Most of the things that I was trying to make work were working properly. And you can see how this Smelly Warrior actually does have a use right now in this castle. The couple places that I've used him, you have to get away from him. So you have this like kind of area where he's taking up space when he's getting ready to swing, because he'll turn towards you. If you just go like off to the side next to him, he'll still turn towards you and hit you. So you kind of have like this circle where you can't be standing in, and that forces you to go into areas that you're not really comfortable going into when there's traps like this. Alright, let's see how the Dr. Skull works. I'm pretty happy with the Dr. Skull, to be honest. There's a couple ways of easily dealing with Dr. Skulls that I've noticed that are used in this way, where there's a group that comes before it. You pull the group back a little bit farther. Anyway, the Dr. Skull ended up killing him because he wasn't really used to the higher skeleton damage. You know, a lot of people don't really think those skeletons do much damage. They actually do. The only problem that they used to have was that they got killed so quickly from volleys that, like, one volley could take out 3 waves of skeletons or something as the Dr. Skull was healing it, and then you could focus more of your attention on killing the Defendatron and the Dr. Skull himself. So that was kind of the bad part of about Dr. Skulls at these later levels before. Okay. Alright, so that was Orlac. We'll jump into one of these that I lost here. Let's just watch Zazik, because his armor is insane on his knight, like absolutely insane. He tanks most of this stuff. I did force out 1 potion, which I'm pretty happy about, let's be honest. That's a win when you're facing Zazik, alright? Probably the best geared player in all of Mighty Quest that's active right now, at least. And he still has room for improvement, but a lot of his gear is, you know, the Painhammer gear and stuff like that, which is really good. I don't even think it's droppable anymore. Alright, so I'll run this as well on ×2, but you guys can see, like, he takes way less damage from things. He takes around 150, I think, from these orbs, and most archers take somewhere up in, like, the 250 range. So it's quite a bit less damage. He also has 4,800 life, which is just disgusting. But my castle does okay. I mean, for the gear that he has, I think my castle is doing about the best it can. Alright, so the Cyclops missed there, and he really just ran in, so I mean, a little bit... I'm not sure if it was like unlucky or maybe my placement's a little bit off on that, but I think it was okay. I mean, it was close. It might have even been the Scorpio change where, you know, he kind of changes his direction. The direction that his hook comes out sometimes is a little off the mark. Like, sometimes you can just stand still and the Scorpio will miss your hero just because it's a little bit off because it's been changed last patch. So I'm not sure if it was that or if my positioning is a little off or anything like that. What I was trying to do there is I was trying to make it so that if you kind of just came around the corner and cut in, you'd get hit by the Cyclops. If you came around in the corner and went straight, you'd get hit by the Scorpio. So if anyone was just kind of getting away from the spike trap, they would get hit back onto the spike trap. And that's what I was going for with the different positionings. And for the most part, it worked reasonably well, unless they pulled it from, like, the room before, obviously. Like this one here, you know, you go up to the wrong room and then you backtrack. You can fight this Scorpio in this room, which isn't really a big deal, but you do have to cross the spike trap multiple times, which is another thing that I was going for, so it's okay. And again, he's kind of just tanking these Stairmasters up. Some of the ticks do upwards of 220 damage or so, but it's a lot less than it does to archers. I think he's got somewhere close to 1,000 of each resistance, which is pretty high, considering my archer only has around 500. Alright, so I'm wondering where he actually uses his potion, because I don't really remember. It's been a while since I watched this replay, a couple of days at least. Maybe right here, to be honest. I want to slow this down. Yeah, this is definitely where he has to use his potion. So you can see this Dr. Skull thing works quite well at this level. Like, it's not bad. I'm not sure, because they are level 32, which means they're 2 levels higher than the hero, so they'll take reduced damage. So I'm not sure how well it'll work at every other level when you're getting attacked by an equal level attacker. I'm not 100% sure on that. It'll have to be up for testing for yourself, you know. But it works decently. I'm pretty happy with Dr. Skulls, at least currently. Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. I think they have a place in level 32 castles. I don't think you could do, like, a castle centered around Dr. Skulls, but just having a couple of them in. I did see, like, 2 or 3 of them in certain castles, but as soon as you kind of learn how to deal with them a little bit better, you know, you can kind of predict that there's going to be a Dr. Skull coming in a lot of castles. When you see all of those spiders rounding the corner, you're like, why does he have so many low point units? Obviously, the next pull is going to be a Dr. Skull. So what you can do is pull those spiders back to, like, the next room or something, so that the Dr. Skull can never resurrect them, and then there's a lot less skeletons that you have to fight with him. It takes a little bit more time, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. Alright, let's do one of these ones in here that I win. That's pretty quick. 47 seconds. So this is Resna's Knight. Definitely not the same gear as Zazik has. He does have more hit points though, but I think quite a bit less resistances. I'm not 100% sure on what he exactly has, but I believe he accidentally double pulls, if I remember this correctly. Well, this wasn't really an accident, I don't think, but it's difficult to fight this group with the other group, for sure. I've noticed a couple people who double pull this have a lot of trouble dealing with two Stairmasters and a Mr. Moonwind. Like, there's just too much coming at you. It's so difficult to actually engage this, especially as a knight. Like, as an archer, you could at least volley it, and then you have a little bit of time to breathe because you can deal with the bombless just with the volley as it's going off, and then you maybe get a headshot on the Defendatron, and then you can work on at least one of the Stairmasters. Alright, so there was that death. We'll do one other quick death, and then we'll do one more long replay. And that would be, what, 5 videos that I went, or 5 replays that I went through? I want to do 7 per video, so. Alright, let's do Dalik. It's 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Alright, so this is a mage. I think he has a similar issue where he double pulls. I'm not sure. I don't remember who double pulled this with an ability, but I know somebody did. Alright, I don't think it was him. Yeah, no, this isn't a double pull, so this is just going to take him a little bit of time to get through. Just because it's a tanky mob, so we'll fast forward it. Alright. So 1 potion used. Stairmasters are pretty good. Also, like, he doesn't have the thing where you kind of like teleport through minions. I think that's almost a necessary ability on some of these castles. Because unlike Roll, you do get like full absorption. Roll, you have a high block chance, but you'll still take trap damage. Whereas I think Mage's ability, if you go over a trap, you just ignore the damage completely. Which is pretty nice when you have to backtrack through a room or something. Alright, we'll slow it down for his death. Like right here, he would take way less damage. So there's that Scorpio plus Cyclops that I was going for with the trap. He didn't even really have to take the trap damage, although he took 2 ticks of it as he was entering the room, and then he kind of got like hit by the Cyclops right on the side, and also hit by the Scorpio, and that did enough damage to kill him. Alright, let's go back to the start so I don't get too far ahead of myself. Alright, so we did Orlac, we did Zazik, we'll do Saturn now. So Saturn makes it through. I think it was 1 potion used. I'm gonna 4x the Mr. Boom Boom fight because it's kind of boring, to be honest. I'm glad that there's less explodifiers used in castles for the most part. Like, that was one thing that I am happy with in patch 19. But losing the good stuns on Cyclopses and Scorpios and Hungerbots being their hooks being shorter and less quick, it's just I don't really like that at all. I think we just lost a lot more good things that we were using. Like, I would have been really excited if these type of groups were available, Dr. Skulls were available, and then you have the Cyclops stuns that are still good, the overhead smashes that are still good. I think there we would actually have some castle diversity. Because those groups like that have the ability to force out a potion by themselves. Because you have a certain space control element that's kind of the same as Stairmasters. If you fight Stairmasters in a more open room without traps, you can take 0 damage from them. It's the trap damage, and it's like just having low space that really makes you take damage from Stairmasters. Because their range isn't that high, to be honest. And their projectile is pretty slow, you can get out of the way of it. Alright, let's 2x this. Let's see how this does again. So again, see, you get knocked onto the trap. If this was patch 18, where you have the longer stun times, that would be so much better. You take at least an extra tick of trap damage, which is like 500 damage. It's a pretty big deal. And I would probably put more of those in my castle, like at least 1 more, if that was the case. There's a point in my castle that I use Stairmasters in this room exactly. I would probably put another Cyclops and Scorpio if it was working a little bit better. It still works decently, but I think Stairmasters are probably better in most circumstances. So here he's pulling back a little bit far so that he can get the shield off. Basically, those personal bubble Jimbos and Smelly Warriors, if you get far enough away from them, they drop their shields to move a little bit quicker towards you. And if you're using like Kel Traps or Bear Traps or something to kind of stun them or slow them down while they're dropping their shield, you can just kill them pretty easily. Another reason kind of why I took out my Jimbo. Alright, well the Scorpio at least got a bite off for 500 damage, which is decent. Alright. And then again, like the Hungerbot bashes you back into the trap range. That sort of thing is good. Alright, let's see how the Dr. Skull works. So far he's done well. Let's see how this one, how this guy handles it. So he's volleying him where we want him to volley the group. The Dr. Skull gets aggroed, and then everything gets resurrected. Like, that's exactly what I want to happen. Now this time, the volley you can see like they do get re-resurrected back up, but then the Dr. Skull's dead, so it's more, in this circumstance, a time waster. He did take about half health worth of damage, which is good, I guess. But not as good as the last couple of replays we watched. Still, I think it's a viable option, you know? I think it does enough. Alright, then I probably should have elites in here. Like, Count Snottingham isn't quite good enough. Although, the hit point buff did affect some bosses, or at least most bosses, I think. Not like a total of 50%, they changed a lower percent value for bosses, but things like Captain Clubbage have quite a bit of health now. Alright, so that was Saturn. And then I think we'll do like one more replay. I think that's 6 or 7, I don't really know. This will be 4, and then we did the 42nd, and then I think we did one more on top of that, so this will be 6. Well, this is probably one of the longer ones, so that's fine. We'll do Aftermath here. You guys are kind of getting the idea of how the castle's working, though. Although this is like a lot of losses that I'm showing now, and then the next replay we'll go through most of the wins that we got last in this competition here. Alright, 2 exit. So, taking a bit of trap damage because he's trying to deal with this without, you know, it's all about the space control. Forces you into bad spots. So, half health, not bad. I mean, that half group is doing better than these Stairmasters are doing. At least in this circumstance. And then again, that works pretty well. It could be better if the stun times were better, obviously, like I've said before. Because the more time that they're standing on that spike trap, the more damage they're going to take. This area here, like that volley right there, that's one reason why I probably should switch this group out or put something else in, like put it somewhere else in my castle or something. I mean, that room itself is just kind of weird with volley. There's certain areas where you're obviously looking through a wall, but you still get the volley off, so. Alright. And this group is just good because it almost guarantees someone going over a trap twice or fighting in a small area. This Scorpio doesn't do nearly as much as the other one does. It might be something where I want to switch the Stairmasters up here with the Scorpio that's in the middle here. Not sure. I have seen a couple times where he does okay, but for the most part he's not really amazing. Also, I think my first group of these like trash mobs does a little bit better than the second one. Not sure exactly why, maybe it's just because you can pull them from like this distance away. Whereas the other one, I think it comes from 2 different angles, so it's a lot less valuable and stuff like that. Spiders are still really weak to bear traps, and they got nerfed as well in patch 19. They're just different behavior. Their behavior is different. Instead of just pouncing on you over and over again, they kind of walk towards you and try to do a melee attack. Alright, so Dr. Skull is going to be coming in a second. People like always double pull this. And I would almost already count this as kind of effective. It's taking a bunch of time for him to deal with this, and he has to constantly be like volleying back and forth. He's not taking much damage, He's doing a good job at that. But I would say that my Dr. Skull was a reason for a couple of the timeouts that I've had. And also he got a couple of kills as well. He already got like 1 kill so far. Alright, so there, he made it through. I think we did 6 replays. We'll do 8 next video, because for the most part these were all wins, so they're a lot shorter, I think, in general. Actually, I don't think they are at all, because some of them are defenses held. Maybe we can find like a mid-range one that we can play through right now. Maybe Ocelix at 116. I think that's the last one, so we'll do that one, I guess. Let's run through this one really quickly, and then we'll end the video. And then next video, for Replay Day Part 2, we will go through all of the wins that we had, basically, throughout the tournament. So let's see, 1:16. Alright, this is the one where he pulls 2 groups, and I think he dies to this. I think this is the one where it's kind of accidental. He survives for a lot longer, though. But he already used 1 potion. Like, pulling both of these is a really hard... You can't really go back because this part of the castle is even smaller than this room. So you can't really fight these space control mobs almost anywhere. Like, pulling this as a double pull is just so incredibly strong. Like, you have a little bit of kite time to here, but once you get to this point, it's so much more difficult to fight Stairmasters. Yeah, he has to go away again. He's already used 2 potions, like, this double pull is insanely strong. Also, this bow is very weak to Stairmasters as well. You have to have Ballistas, I think, to really fight against Stairmasters well. Also, Mr. Boom Booms as well, because you want that projectile to keep going through and dealing damage to the actual units, you know? To deal damage to Mr. Boom Boom, to deal damage to the Defendatrons, rather than just get absorbed by the summoned units, get absorbed by the shielded Stairmasters. So, we will end the video here and jump into the next one tomorrow. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.